What's up, guys? Tis the season to be griefy, am I right? Mm. I am recording in sunny South Florida at my parents' house, which is kind of where I grew up for some of my life. So I am, if you are watching this on YouTube, you can kind of see behind me. And if you can't tell, it's Florida with the beach picture and the crane picture. What is, oh, there's a blue flower. I didn't even make my bed for this. Guys, here's what I realized as I was putting this together. Do I have some makeup on? Yes. Do I have a ton on? No. Is my hair done? Is it a little dirty? Yes. Has this hoodie been worn 3 times and not washed? Yes. Look, I'm not saying that I'm a disgusting person. I'm just saying that, like, one thing that's happened to me since losing Brody was that, like, I will never strive for perfection. I will never strive to make things look as if they aren't are, if that makes any sense. Oh God, did I even say that right? Look, I'm not like, there's no facade. There might have been one before. Like there might have been a everything's great, everything's fine, I'm crushing it when I wasn't. That's just the kind of the persona that I would put out there because I was a very private person. I went through a ton of crap in my 20s. I was with a terrible person for most of my 20s, engaged to him. And so I was always trying to patch up the holes and make it seem like everything was okay, especially to those who cared about me. And then, that ended, thank God. And, I just kind of tried to, I don't know, just get my shit together after that and make it seem like I did. And I did for most of the part. I absolutely did. But was it always perfect? No, I struggled a lot and I had a lot of ups and downs. But I didn't really tell people those kind of things because to me, that didn't matter. Your struggles don't matter. It's basically what you can show for it is what mattered. And that's kind of like what has changed so significantly. I have been recording for what, 3 seconds and I'm going in. So I'm about to bring Andrea on, if she remembers. I'm supposed to bring Andrea on of Grieving Like a Mother, and then I'm supposed to bring Amanda on of Orange AF or Orange AF Mama. Those are their Instagram handles, guys, just in case, because that's how we kind of kind of like reference each other's our handles. But now when Brody died, I was like, well, the facade's over. I'm gonna be very clear and open about the struggle, the challenges, because those struggles, those challenges are how I get to the other side and give myself credit and be proud of myself for getting to the quote unquote other side, for making something of my life, for taking my story and not making it a extremely horrible, sad ending. Because Brody's story ends, mine begins. And so I'll never put on a front ever. Like my worst enemy could march right up to me and I'd be like, bitch, you have trauma too. Don't even fucking tell me you don't. And that we're all human beings. So, I personally relate more to those people who are crushing it and looking great and being kind and being like, what have you been through? And when they tell me, I'm like, dude, inspirational. Inspirational. That's what okay. So, what I'm doing right now, this is our Thanksgiving episode. If you're listening to this, you probably have stepped out of your house or you're going for a walk or you're driving somewhere on the day of Thanksgiving, or you may listen to it after. I don't really know what Andrea and I are going to talk about. We just do this thing where we chat and yap, and just honest to God, listening to two lost moms talk, usually you could pick up on some stuff that you resonate with or like makes you feel less alone. So I'm going to bring her on here. It's 1 o'clock. I'm going to bring her on and we're going to yap and just catch up. We go back and forth on Instagram. We haven't actually recorded in like 2 years. We go back and forth on Instagram a lot. And I think it's really important to maintain these relationships with mamas who just really understand it, what you're going through. Our conversations have changed over the last few years since we met. And so I'm stoked to talk to her. So I hope this is really helpful for you guys. Let me bring her on. Let's see here. Am I recording? Oh, good. Andrea.
Woo! Top of the morning to you. Oh no, it's afternoon there.
Turn on your camera, would you?
Is that all? I'm in my closet.
Oh my God, I love that so much about you. What is happening outside that you're in your closet? Oh, I have that
Here,
light. It never stays charged ever.
yeah, I set up. I'm like, it's gonna be bright in here,
Are
but
you on
no,
your
it's
phone?
no, it's my MacBook.
Then do you have your phone with you? Take the flashlight if you want to. I sometimes do
Oh,
that. And then I like, yeah. It looks like you're telling scary stories.
Sorry. Oh my God, that's so funny. How do I? Okay. Oh, look at
Oh,
that.
that's better.
You can see all my
Yeah.
clutter. Okay.
Whose closet is this? Is this yours?
Yeah, and I'm like, I hate it so much every day. It's like one of those things I walk in this room and I'm like, burn it all down. I need to just go organize and I can't get myself like I look at one thing and I'm like, keep or throw, and then I don't do it anymore. It's those decision-making things, you know. Are you in a hotel?
I'm at my parents' house, but does it not look like one?
It really is like the movies.
This is my room from high school. It doesn't look anything like this. She's taken down all my NSYNC pictures. All of my heartthrob posters are gone.
How long did it take her to like clear you out? Was it
45 minutes.
That's how I feel like I'm gonna be. Like these are my guest bedrooms now.
Yeah, she like kept all my crap though. Like you should see the closet. It's like buckets and containers of like awards and medals and dumb
Oh
shit that I
yeah.
got. So she's like, "Can you please go through this?" She's been asking me to do that for maybe 15 years. And I'm like,
Yes.
"No, I am not going through any of this stuff." Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we're down here, like I said, thank you for like changing the time in the day because
Oh yeah.
we're doing this thing right now where like everyone's on their own vacation. And by everyone, my husband,
Oh,
my sister, brother-in-law, like my brother, like everyone is like checked out. So I'll be like, hey, I'm gonna go record. And Michael's like, no, we're leaving to go watch this game down in, Fort Lauderdale Beach. And I was like, you motherfucker. Like, why didn't you tell me this? Like, so we're just everyone's doing their own thing. There's like one car that everyone is like tossing around. And so I'm super blessed. Don't get me wrong. Like I'm super lucky that we get to do all this, but not blessed, but lucky to do all this. And but at the same time, I'm like, can't get anything done, but it's okay.
no, you can't.
That's what the holidays are for.
The help is busy.
The help is busy. Yeah. Yeah.
Busy.
What about you? What are you guys doing this week for
My
Thanksgiving?
gosh. My sister decided to host. It's kind of different every year. I have not hosted since Terra died in the last 4 years. And so that has been, that I think was a change for everyone because I kind of had started hosting like the local family. We have family all over. And really, like throughout the years, our holidays have changed so much. And I think that happens with a lot of people just growing up. Like we used to go to like my grandma's family's,
Mm,
and then at some point we did like just us as a family, and then I got married, and then you include the in-laws, and then changes happened within the in-laws families. And so it really is like in a way I kind of it helped me because I felt like there wasn't any hardcore traditions that
right.
I was let people down. But and then you add kids into it too, and it's like you have to just kind of like figure out like I can't do all of these, especially when there's like my husband's side, there's his parents are not together. So then they both have their
Mm,
families.
hmm.
There was a multiple things we were invited to all the time and we would try to hit them all. But then just like as the years go by, you're like, I can't do it. And you know, you're exhausted. And when you have little kids and the schedules and all of that. And so now we kind of just literally like the week before, we're like, well, what are we doing anything? Like I kind of wanted to leave town this year, but that didn't pan out. So my sister's hosting and basically just like if anybody I totally forgot I'm gonna bring chips and dip I think because I was at the store this weekend and my second oldest she turns 10. She was born on Thanksgiving 10 years ago.
Oh, wow.
So that's like the four. I feel like I can only manage one thing, like one event at a time. And so birthdays at the holidays have always been a struggle for me because I'm like, what am I doing for this birthday?
Right.
And
Oh, God.
and then I space on like Thanksgiving. So
So her
we'll see.
birthday, well, it's not this Thanksgiving isn't the same every year, which is
Right.
confusing. But
So
sometimes
she,
it does fall on it like every 7 years or something.
yeah, like every 4 years or something. It's
4. Oh,
on.
wow.
I think it's four. I don't know the Mayan calendar. I
The Mayans. I know.
the
Whose
Mayan-
idea was this?
Mayans, I think was it them?
Oh, no, don't even. Are you a like a rabbit hole person?
Oh God, yeah.
You are? Like,
Yeah.
well, yeah, besides the stillbirth world where it's like, what the hell's going on here? But
Oh yeah.
like, do you like plummet down scenarios or let's say conspiracy theories and like come out on the other side going, what did I just figure out?
Yeah, and then I think talked about this, or I've heard you talk about. My husband's a Joe Rogan listener, and
Mm,
so he comes home with
my
crap.
man.
I'm like, hold on a second, and then I'm like, I'm like, have him get this person on because I want, there's like, I feel like, especially in the recent years, but so we go around sometimes about some of those things, but yeah, he's a big like conspiracy guy, and
Your
so,
husband is? Oh
uh-huh.
my God, I would love to hear his latest plummeting down the rabbit hole, coming out like, Andrea, you're gonna believe what I just figured out.
Yeah, he's like, he'll just be like, look this up, look this guy up. And I'm like, don't do this to me.
Next thing you know, the world is not what you knew it. Well, that actually, to be honest, oh, I would like to chalk it up to say when Brody died is when I kind of really did go down some sort of weird rabbit hole when it came to like medical care and stillbirth
Everything
research.
you think you knew.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and then when I really had my eyes opened was like pregnancy after loss, when I was like telling them all these things and saying all these things, and they were like saying, no, what you're saying doesn't exist. And I'm like, you can measure the placenta, you can look at the
Yeah.
cord. Why are you telling me you can't? So then I really just became like, what am I missing? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And I'm not going to shit all over medical professionals. I just do feel like it definitely changed my trust or my perspective in what people know and think and say and go into certain industries with certain intentions that may not be what you think their intentions are. I
Yeah.
don't know. It was really fucked up, I would say, when I finally was like, oh no, like they
Yeah.
don't care. Like, are you kidding? Why not?
I know, and even as far as like growing up, like I was in public school, so I didn't even I thought we were all getting the same textbooks, like whether you were homeschooled, public school, whatever, and like growing up, I realized like, oh, we learned what someone somewhere decided to put in a textbook and say this
Uh-huh.
is what we teach kids, but then there's
Uh-huh.
all this other information out there, and so it's like you really it is true where people are like, you grow up and you just unlearn everything you
Uh-huh.
learned as a kid.
It's
You
so bizarre. It's so bizarre. And then you're like, well, if this is messed up now and this is what what else do I not know about? And then you just kind of go on this like absolute tangent of trying to find answers. And then you just kind of sit back and go, well, I wish I didn't do that. Like,
know.
take me back to what I didn't
I
know.
am depressed now. Yeah,
I
my
know.
anxiety is worse.
I know. I mean, that's part, I think, of the grief is you no longer think, believe, or act or whatever it is the way that you used to. And then so you're kind of like, well, I miss being ignorant to this kind of shit. Like,
Oh
this
yeah,
is exhausting. I mean,
yeah.
you just that whole thing you did with like the cameras and the Titanic. I hated to laugh, but it's so
Huh?
absurd that it's hilarious.
Oh yeah, I'm like watching this thing, my mouth drops open. This guy's been studying the Titanic for who's funding that? Like what? Why do we care so much? Like we know what happened by now, but we have to know the details and then we can't even measure a placenta or it's just it
So,
was the most bizarre thing. Why are we obsessed with this?
I know. Oh my God, Amanda is in the waiting room. Dude, you're here and
She's
you're
mute.
on mute.
We're so good at this.
Wow. Hello, I'm here.
What
Here
are you?
you
Well,
are.
hello, welcome.
You guys are catching me in the middle of the constant chaos. So, fair warning.
Are you in the car? Are you in your
Sure
orange
am.
mobile?
Not in the orange mobile, in the white mobile.
Oh my God, hi. Where are you going?
Well, between appointments and grocery shopping, and then my kids are off of school this week, because why not? And then this morning, a bunch of trucks showed up to cut down trees in our yard that are around our power line. So it's just another day in paradise here.
Another day. Are you hosting
Yeah.
Thanksgiving?
Heck no. I don't. I'm. I put on my Christmas card like 2 years ago that I'm learning how to cook.
You're
So,
learning.
mhm.
Learning. It's never ending. So what do you guys do like for the
Yeah.
holiday?
We usually just go to my in-laws. We're like local to them, so that's the easiest for the kids. My sister-in-law on like my side of the family, she grew up in the state of Wyoming. We're in Minnesota, and so they kind of go out there for holidays. So sometimes when they're out there, we just stay close to home type of thing.
Has it like kind of changed since Junie died has like what has it been like for you?
Well, I always kind of joke, even before Junie died, that I hate the holidays. I hate the logistics, which is probably surprising because I'm someone that usually loves like all that kind of thing. But I feel like just in general, no matter what I do, I can't make anyone happy.
Oh,
Um,
it
Are
sounds
your
like a woman
families,
thing.
yeah, like are your families really particular about getting together on the day of the holiday?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean like and if we don't get together on the day of the holiday, we don't get together at all.
Yeah, like so that's the big issue here is that like the date, the
yeah.
day of the actual
Otherwise,
holiday is
it's not
such a big
real.
deal.
It's
Yeah,
not a
and
real
I'm like,
Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So that's where I'm at. I do feel like so I'm trying to remember when Brody and when Terra died, but Junie was August. And so then right after she died, then it was Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas,
Oof.
like boom, boom, boom. And so I actually kind of love this little section of time between like Junie's birthday and like Thanksgiving or Christmas because
Yeah.
I found out I was pregnant with her right before Christmas. And so it's kind of like this like little purgatory time in between time that I don't have like a whole bunch of major milestone things.
Mm.
Yeah.
That makes sense. It's just like the shitty milestones of like, oh, the first Halloween without her and such a like kid-centric holiday.
Did you guys ever like get traumatized by your own trauma? Like, I don't, so like, I remember the first holidays after Brody were atrocious. I was in constant just pain and emotional and just, it was awful. So then the next one, I was like kind of remembering how I felt the year before, which was so messed up. And I was like, I gotta shake this like feeling. I mean, I was, how, what do you call that? like,
Compounding grief is what I call that.
okay, there you
I don't
go.
know if that's the right term or not, but yeah, I feel that of like because your memories are so triggered of like, oh, well, this is what it was like last year. This is what it's like this year.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then I think there's always kind of some pressure, especially like, so not you, Andrea. By the way, when I was texting about you, I totally called you Tara. It was really
Oh,
funny.
aw.
And I was like, wait, I had to like actually remember what your name was. I was like,
Well, when
oh,
I
I know her kid's
introduced you
name, but
guys
not
on this, I was like, I'm gonna be with Grieving Like a Mother and Orange
Yeah,
AF
I only
Mama.
know Instagram handles.
right? Or
It's
I
so
don't
funny.
even say babies' names most of the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're my
they're good at
friends.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
You are good at that. I don't
Yeah, I
remember
was gonna
anything.
say, with
Oh, hi.
yeah, there's middle kid. Um, with with having your first die, you're parenting, an invisible kid, and people. I'm gonna just turn my camera off here for a little bit because this is just distracting. Yeah, just wait. You'll get to see. When your first dies, you're showing up to the holidays empty-handed, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
extra empty-handed. And so I do remember like all the first holidays. Okay. All the first holidays. And so now I feel very inclined to bring Juniper with just to like have that representation of our kid.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know if you guys feel that way too or not, but I do remember, no, there's nothing to see here. You want to say hi to Brody's mom? Jersey said hi.
Hi.
Say hi. Okay, this is being recorded, so maybe Catherine will edit this out.
Yeah, probably.
Please do. Sorry.
No, you're
The
good.
crazy.
Actually, I might not. I just whatever. I
It's
used to
all
put
good.
like trigger warnings on them, like there's a kid talking at 4 minutes in, and I
Oh,
don't do that
sure,
anymore.
sure,
No, I don't do that
sure,
anymore.
sure.
Well,
Yeah, I remember like that first Thanksgiving especially. Like my brother and sister-in-law were showing up, with their kid.
yeah,
I was supposed to have a kid with, and then I didn't have a kid with. We did bring our dog, but yeah, it just felt like extra empty, if you will.
yeah.
And just like, I don't know, like for me, I do think that like once you have more kids, it waters down. I said,
I agree. Yeah. People don't love to hear that, but like it does. Like it changes so much. Like I vowed I would always have a seat at the table, and I don't do that anymore because it's I don't know why. I don't know. I think it's excessive and like I just don't. Like do I have his picture up in a candle? Absolutely. Do I have his bear there? Yeah, but like I don't pull up an empty chair anymore. I just don't do that anymore. You
Yeah.
guys,
Yeah, and
you know what I mean? Like
Catherine, I think we were talking about this on the live the other day about the body keeps the score
yeah,
and how like doing those physical things brings about a sense of safety to our bodies. And so like that, like not saying they're not still missing, but that first year they're missing that silence, that emptiness is so loud.
it's so
And
true.
now that
Yeah.
there's a little bit more living kid actual loudness happening, I feel like the silence isn't as loud, if that makes sense. Like it's
Yeah.
still, they're
Yeah.
always missing, they're always going to be missing, but
Well,
it kind of softens around the edges, I guess.
yeah. Well, the first few months people would consider in the grief world, it's called acute grief. But for
Mm-hmm.
us as lost mamas, I think that acute grief lasts for at least one
Forever.
year. And well,
Yeah.
it's the very raw, visceral, can't
Yeah.
function. But then we learn and then we go into our normalized grief essentially, where which is what we carry with us and we learn how to carry and it ebbs and flows. Like before it would be like I'm so miserable. I can't stop crying. I miss my baby. Oh my God, I miss my baby. Oh, that tree's really pretty. Oh, I miss my baby. Oh my this Christmas cocktail is delicious. Oh, I miss my baby. Now it's like, oh my God, this tree is so pretty. Look at all the lights. Look at all the ornaments. Everything's beautiful. Oh, Merry Christmas. Oh my God, I miss my baby. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Like it switches. And
Mhm.
I can say I'm not leading with sadness anymore, which honestly, we can only say this to each other. Like, I think Brody would be like, bitch, what the hell are you doing down there? Like, get it together, have a good time. I can see it now, but
Right.
but
Right. Right.
but it's like very in the very, very beginning. I did feel weird the first Thanksgiving though, which was probably last Thanksgiving where I was like, I don't have a place card, I don't have a plan, I don't have a family photo, I don't have an outfit for the bear. He's there, the bear's there, but I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it is the chaos of having living kids. I don't know.
I
Definitely,
think
because
like
I
it,
did have
yeah.
living kids, and I did not do
That's
what
true.
you guys did. Like, because it really does become so, like, especially when you're grieving as a mom with your living kids, like the bare minimum was me just getting them, you know,
Mm.
what they needed, and then later I was able to like let myself grieve and be sad. Like the sadness was always there, right? But it wasn't the primary focus because my focus was just them. And
Because you
so,
had to keep going. You had to keep
right, like I never
doing.
thought
That's
to
an
like
awesome perspective. Yeah,
have
yeah.
an empty chair. I never even thought that because now that when you have these kids, they take up so much room in your mind anyways. You're just worried about them and what is going on. And they had an expectation of what the holidays already were. So you feel that
Hmm.
pressure also to
Oh
continue
yeah.
that magic for them to do what they know because life has already changed so much. They have this sad mom. So I really was like focusing more on that I didn't
Mm.
even think to do that kind of stuff. And then I would see like on Instagram some of you guys doing those kinds of things and I'm like, shit, should I be doing that? Like, should I have brought her stuffed animal? It
Just
took me
shooting on yourself. Yeah.
it took me
Yeah. Yeah.
to even get like a Molly bear. Like I didn't even know
Yeah.
that existed for a whole year. And so I think too that kind of depends on how you handle it is really what you know. And like in the first year, I didn't even know those things existed because I wasn't connected yet and I didn't have anyone in my life that had been through it. So
Hmm. I
so
think I remember starting to message you and being like, "Welcome to the dark side.
yeah, well even
Welcome."
Catherine, she had me on her podcast because I remember being so interested that I had Terra died 6 months before Brody, and here's this
Hmm.
lady on this podcast that I'm listening to, but I had started grieving before her, and I'm like, I was just so interested in that because I'm like, how is she only? It's been 6 months, and she's already talking to people. She's hosting these podcasts,
Because
conversations and figuring things out, and I didn't even know this world existed at all.
well, that's the difference maybe in having your first die and then
Uh-huh.
also having living. I had to fill the void. I had to fill the void.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
didn't know what to
Yeah.
100%
do.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's
We
I
wanted
just dove
to.
in.
We had all this parenting energy and no
Right.
kid to take care of. Like I remember, I'm so grateful. My friend set up a meal train. So grateful for it, especially as we mentioned, I'm not a big cook. Learning to become one. But my husband kind of resented it, and like people had offered to mow our lawn, and he's like, I have 2 weeks off of work to take care of a baby that's not here. Like,
Oof. Yeah.
let me stay busy. Let me mow my lawn. Let me make food for my wife. Like,
Yeah.
don't, you know, that the like kind of same different parenting energy, you know?
Yeah.
And so yeah, Tara, I'm just gonna call you Tara. You're Tara.
Fine.
That totally makes sense that you were busy and you had to be busy. And I'm also just guessing that there was probably some level of outside pressure too
Oh yeah.
from, you know, like not it, no one's explicitly saying it, but people are probably like, dude, don't go so far down the dark side that you abandon your living kids,
Oh,
right? Like,
they say that right away. The week
oh,
the week of that she died, they were like, "Well, you've got your living kids to pull you through." And I'm
F
like,
that. F that. I'm sorry.
"You've got
Like,
your living kids to pull you through. At least you have these guys." You hear that very frequently. The literally the week of. It and I was
oh,
just like it sent me like this mixed message like, am I not supposed to be sad then that one of my kids died because I do have these other living kids?
Oof.
And they didn't even know like I I was struggling so bad to even be there for my living kids and the guilt that you take on as a mom when people are like, "Oh, they'll pull you through, they'll get you through." And you're like, I am not functioning right now. I felt so empty and like a shell of a human being. Like they're still kids, right? They had sad moments too, but then they're like trying to make me laugh. They want to dance in the kitchen still. They want to do all of these things. And I everything from me was so forced. Like I remember my oldest even saying, like, Mom, how come you don't sing in the car anymore? And I didn't
Oof.
even realize I wasn't singing in the car. And
oh
so
my
it's like,
gosh, I did that too.
you're so in
I
your
not
head.
sing in the car at all after Junie died.
You're just
Well,
not in a good mood. And so it's like people would say those things and I was like, what does that mean? My it's first, it's not my kids' job to pull me through this, right? Like that's
no,
not
no.
them. But then two, you're not even understanding how everything just flipped for me as far as being a mom. And I'm just so sad about, and you're replaying memories, you're having flashbacks, you're dealing with that's all my mind was thinking of in those early days, especially that my kids coming to me like I don't even know if I heard what they said sometimes because I was so
Mm-hmm.
far gone that I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
wait, what? Like what? Oh, what'd you just? Oh, show me that trick again. I'm sorry. Like I had to snap myself back constantly.
Mm-hmm. Did it delay? It delayed most likely your grief, or, right? I mean, or
Yeah, and
delayed
that's
your
why
leaning into it. Yeah.
totally. And I talk about that too. I just was talking about that with someone else because I said, it took me a good year I was so much like, I mean, my kids had to go back to school. Terra died over the summer. They had to go back to school like within 2 weeks. I had one signed up for soccer. I had one in dance classes. And so it was like I had to still like I'm showing up to these things because they had commitments, And so it wasn't until a year and there was a friend that I would see every day and she was very involved in the beginning and at a year, that's when I isolated. Like I was so still doing all the things, play dates, whatever, like in that first year. And that by a year, I was like, I think I had a mental breakdown where I was
Oof.
like,
Heck yeah,
I
you did.
can't. And I just got so overwhelmed and I just pulled back away from everything. And I'm like, I don't want to see anybody, which is what a lot of grievers I hear
Mm-hmm.
did right away. They're like, not answering calls and texts. I was doing all of that still. And then it wasn't until like a year later where I was like, I'm not going to respond if I don't feel like I want to respond. I'm going to say no and not show up. And I really isolated and that confused the shit out of people because they were like, you've been like, oh, I didn't know I didn't know it was that bad. Someone said to me, I didn't know you were struggling that deep.
My gosh. Ah,
And so that was really interesting to me. And that's when I started my Instagram account. That's when I started
Mm-hmm.
grieving like a mother was because I needed to be in that world of sad people and I needed to write
Mm-hmm.
like I had started sharing grief memes. It was about a year later. So I just kept things normal, like on my regular personal page. I didn't share a lot. I disappeared for like 6 months. And then I remember like sharing my first grief meme in my stories. And when I did that, like multiple people text messaged me and checked on me that day. And I'm like, oh, they don't realize, like, they think I've been doing fine.
Hmm.
And because I shared this one grief story, I'm like having a rough day and they're going to check on me. And that started to just piss me off because I'm like, I'm not just sad today, guys. Like, this is how it's been for me. And so then I was like,
Also,
I
isn't
can't,
that funny? Like people think it's just this one day thing,
Yeah.
or like
yeah,
it's so compartmentalized, and
yeah,
it eats into everything we do, you know?
Well,
yeah,
the other thing too is I don't think people truly wrap their brain around this type of loss because
yeah,
not you know not I'm not diminishing anyone else's loss. I never ever ever will do that. But the order of life is you're born and then you die. For us, they died and then they were born. How the fuck do you
yeah,
explain that to people? How do you say I birthed death? Like that is a whole
Mm-hmm.
nother level. Like I'm going through these grief training courses and the whole thing is like death is the ultimate result of birth. And I'm like, I'm raising my hand. I'm like, not for me. Like, that's not
right.
how this went for me. Like, what are you
No.
talking about? So people don't, on the flip side, are like, oh, well, they never really breathed any air. So, like, what the fuck are you so upset about? And then you're like, wait, 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 wait. There's another level of
Mhm.
birthing your dead child. And then being in this whole world of like, I want to remember this for the rest of my life. This was their birth, but also it was the single most traumatic thing that's ever happened to you. So we're dealing with so much guilt. We're dealing with so many layers, and people don't want to crawl into that headspace and be like, now I get it. Now I see why she's so messed up. It's not
Yeah,
like grandma dying. It's not like, whoever it may be who's had, a long life. It still is awful. Don't get me wrong. I'm always going to preface with that. But like death happened, then birth. And people can't seem to wrap their brain around the severity of that.
yeah,
And how like extra traumatic it is,
Yeah.
and like how complicated it is because we held our babies, we named our babies, we know what they looked like, but we never got everything else. Like, um, here's a good like family story. I'm gonna turn my camera back
Yeah.
on
Put
here
it
if
put it
I'm
back on, woman.
able to. Sorry, got the groceries put away. Oh, that's fine.
Multi
So,
she's doing daily activities while recording a podcast
oh,
for like
there.
hundreds of people to hear. It's amazing.
it's
Should I be
fine.
putting laundry?
Should I be doing something
Um,
else?
Who those birthday parties?
clearly. Just sitting here by my McDonald's play place. It's fine.
So
Like,
we all
it's
have adult ADHD. Got
yeah,
it.
we
Yeah,
100%.
yeah.
Okay, so
Self-diagnosed.
back to the traumatics of life. So my uncle Matthew died when I was 8 years old, on his wedding day,
Oh, whoa.
which just,
Ooh,
oof, it.
Yeah.
So him
that's a
and
lot
his
of layers of loss.
fiance
Holy crap.
Michelle, were gonna get married at the Chapel of Love at the Mall of America, and they got hit by a drunk driver. Michelle survived, and my uncle Matthew did not. Um, he was the youngest of my dad's siblings, so it was my dad, his two sisters, and then there was like a 10-year age gap, and then Matthew. So he was like the baby of the family. And of course I didn't like, obviously understand much at the time, and things like that. But so he was in his 20s when he died, and then of course like a very not great situation. Not that any death is a great situation, but just really, really not great. So anyways, then we had Junie who died and then was born, and like you were saying, like two things that should not happen in that order, but they do, and people don't understand it. And then we had our living daughter Coral. And then we were celebrating Junie's second birthday and Coral's first birthday, which are 2 days apart, as you know.
Mhm. June, right?
Um, August.
Oh, it's August. Fuck. Sorry.
All three August. It's
I was like,
fine.
I
It's fine.
remember. No, I didn't.
Her
No.
No
name
one,
is
no
June.
one needs to know. Yeah, middle name's June, so it's fine. It's fine. Um, so anyways, we were planning their birthdays, and it was very important to me that we were celebrating Junie along with Coral and people showing up, and I wanted them to feel equally loved. Like, not that I need like tit for tat, like one-to-one presents or something like that, but I just wanted her equally loved because that's all we want as a mom. We
Hmm.
want them equally loved, remembered. And my dad had called me up, and um because I had put in there, like, because I said, like, for presents for Junie, I said donate to these organizations that are working towards stillbirth prevention because, like, we can't bring Junie back but we could save other people from experiencing this tragedy. Hello, Margot, right? Um,
Mm.
and I had put on there like how we celebrate Junie may change over the years, but this is what we're doing this year. And I said it in a very kind way, but like we're asking for your respect and your participation here. And anyways, my dad. So it was my dad's youngest brother, that my Uncle Matthew. He had called and he was like, "Hey, like I see you want to celebrate Junie in there, but like it's kind of weird to me that we're gonna sing happy birthday to her because nothing's happy about her birthday." And I was like, "But Dad, like that's all we get. And like this is more for me than it is for you." And
Right.
like
Follow your
what
lead. You
he
follow your lead. Yeah.
yeah, and what he related it back to was he was like, "Well, when Uncle Matthew died, my brother, we didn't go out and sing happy birthday at his gravesite." And I'm like, "Yeah, but you know what? Like your mom and dad, bless their hearts, they got to sing him happy birthday for 20 some years of his life with
Mm.
him present, you know? And 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 I also think if they did go to his gravesite and sing him happy birthday every year, I think that's totally cool. That grief
Yeah, I would not think twice
hurting
about that.
anyone, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so like it was then I realized that how we were grieving was being set to these rules of how they had grieved my Uncle Matthew.
Huh.
Hmm.
And so I had to do a lot of explaining about how this is different. Like it's the same
Mm.
and it's
Hmm.
different. Like it was still an out of order death. Like I remember
Absolutely.
the first time I hugged my grandparents. Hello, gang's all here, minus one because she's dead. Um, I remember the first time I hugged my grandparents after Junie died, and like realizing that like they kind of knew some of my pain of like we are lost parents together, and I was just
Hmm.
like, this is so screwed up.
So screwed up. That's another
Yeah.
thing on that note of like birthdays for 20 something years. Again, I'm going through these grief trainings, as you guys know, and like they tell you to like close your eyes and think of their laugh. What did it sound like? Think of their smile. Lean on those times. I'm like, we didn't get those. Like we got
Yeah.
imaginary ones. We are actually imagining what it would sound like, looking like, be like next to their siblings. And so that is another level of grief, mourning what you never got to see. And that is hard to explain to people. And
100%. And I feel like we have to like do the work to keep them existing.
yeah,
Oh, and
yeah.
actually that brings me back to something when we were talking about like the empty seat at the table and things like that. I feel like as time has gone on,
Oh, she muted.
Maybe.
You
Yeah.
know.
Well, the
yes, sorry. As
grief.
time has gone on, I feel less inclined to do some of those things of like the empty seat at the table, or be so forward, so direct, and so kind of, I guess, like in your face. Not that I'm like in your face, but a lot more obvious and outgoing with that grief is because like I show up to my mother-in-law's house and there's gifts wrapped for Junie under the tree. There's a
Aw.
candle lit that says Juniper. Like people, I think this was maybe in that the body keeps the score book too, that um as people help you carry it,
Mm,
you're carrying less, and so I think that's like really important to acknowledge that like the way people have showed up for our grief
yeah.
is what helps us not like have to. And I also have to say that if you still feel inclined to have an empty seat, by all means, if that's not hurting anyone,
Yeah.
I also think
100%.
like
Well,
that is totally cool.
dude, you started Measure the Placenta. I've got a fucking podcast. Andrea's got a clothing store that are all around our babies. So, like,
Yeah.
we do this shit day in, day out, and people are very aware that we are talking about our babies and others' babies.
But
So,
then
I
I still
feel
have people that are like, I didn't know if you wanted to talk about her. I'm
which
like,
is weird. But then there's mamas out there who don't do what we're doing. So there are
mhm.
days that go by, weeks that go by that they don't get to say their name and no one even recognizes them and is like, "Oh, nothing. Oh, I saw your post." Like nothing because they're not as open with it as some of us are because some of us have this gift of being loud as hell and that's why we can do these things and that helps others who do it quietly. But I feel for those who are kind of fumbling and bumbling around these holiday seasons that are like, what do I do? Is this too much? It's been 5 years, but I don't get to say his name a lot. Having writing their names on a place card at the table is like such a big deal that they only get to do 2, 3 times a year. Meanwhile, we are screaming our babies' names every single day. So I do, on that note, Amanda, I do want mamas to know that our babies don't get every day of the year, they get a few. And so you can pick which those are. You can, if you want to put a place card out for them for Thanksgiving, damn well do it. Do that. And
Yeah,
you stand
yeah.
by that decision. If you want to have a Lost Mama posted that she was sad because there was only two stockings on the mantle, not three. And I was like, well, I will always have three. Like he's got a
Yeah.
stocking. That's just my thing.
And I
And
just it's one of those places that they can be included. That is
right.
natural, that is normal, like the stock and for me, I don't know because I'm a photographer, I'm a visual person that like seeing the correct number always makes me feel least worst. Like, that's kind of
Mhm.
been my saying of like do what's least worst. Like we won't ever have them here, but we can remember them with a stocking. Like we can do these things to keep them here and present and acknowledged with us. And that's why, like, one of my big things around the holiday is if you're going to write out our Christmas card and you're going to write everyone's names, write Juniper's along with us all. And if you're sending one and you don't, I love when people put baby daddy, Amanda, Juniper Coral Jersey. It's the best.
Yeah.
Um, I also like going back to like, so first kid died. I remember that first Christmas, we would get some address like to our family and that's totally fine. Like last name family, cool. But then there were ones that were just like to Mitch and Amanda. And I was just like, what a missed opportunity. Just Mitch, Amanda, and Juniper. Like she's part of the family. But then like years forward, we have living kids, then we would get to our family without and I was like, you could have did that when Junie died. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
It's just these little opportunities that like
Mean
we're
so
not
much to
asking
us.
anyone to fly to the moon. Like,
I know.
write one
It
more
takes
place card for
five
a person to
seconds.
be here. Yeah, like
Well, it's like they think it's gonna
especially
make us sad. You know,
yeah,
they're not realizing that we are just sad and that it actually makes us feel better when you do acknowledge and include it. And that's that whole why we need to normalize grief and have these conversations with the normal public, not just each other, because that's what it's
yeah.
like hard to get these people like they
Didn't
say, oh, I
you,
don't know what to do. Like,
Andrew, didn't you post a meme recently that was like or it was a reel of like, don't say my baby's name because you might remind me that they died, and you're like, oh my
mhm.
gosh, you reminded me. Like, no,
Yeah,
we are,
yeah,
I didn't
yeah,
say that. That's funny.
yeah.
years before you guys were in this circle, I posted something because I was getting some heat about dressing my Junie Bear
Mhm.
and
Were you
having her in
getting it
photos
from
and
other
stuff.
lost moms though? We're at, like I remember
Yeah,
you. Yeah, that
yeah,
was.
but I mean, Coral wasn't even a year old yet, and I remember like sometimes I would throw Junie Bear on our stroller, and like Coral had her own Junie Bear too. So I'm not, and if I would, it would be fine. But I'm not carrying my 5 pound bear everywhere. But Coral had hers, and I I should find this post. I'll scroll way back. But I'd posted that like people are afraid we're losing touch with reality. And
Mhm.
the reality is that we gave birth to death. We are the ones most in touch with reality. Like that is just asinine if you say that you think we're losing touch with reality. Like
Or the
we,
whole accept it. That bothered me. Like, oh, they need to accept that they died. And I'm like, you don't think we know that they're dead more than anybody else and have accepted
yes,
that this is our
we
reality?
had
Like,
to fill out cremation paperwork. We had to pick up burial plots. Like
yeah,
we bled for 6 weeks and had no baby. We had to dry up our milk. Like we are
yeah.
very in touch
They're
with what
confused
happened.
about like I'm like there are parts I needed to accept like I couldn't fix my grief and I was just gonna live the rest of my like
Hmm.
I had to come to that place of like this isn't going away. Okay, I accept that I'm
Hmm.
living life as a bereaved mom. But as far as like accepting that she died, like when they see us do that kind of stuff or like buy a bear that rep or dress them or whatever, they're like, oh, it's like they like we don't know they died. Like we're still pretending they're alive or like that kind of stuff. It's just very misunderstood.
I feel
Hmm. A
like,
hundred percent.
what do you guys think? So I was speaking to a woman who'd been through a pretty brutal like life experience and like insane amount of trauma, and hers was way different. I mean, it was a situation where I don't know, she was kidnapped and didn't know she was gonna die, and she lived off like she. It was a crazy situation. Got very sick. Um, and I'm telling her my story, and she's tearing up, and she's like, as a mother, I really not understanding how you got through. Like, I can't wrap my brain around what you've been through. And I was like, you were in a jungle, kidnapped, eating out of a tuna can with a you thought you were gonna die. There were machetes to your head every. Really? Like, so I was like, maybe it is so horrible to think about that people, especially women who have birthed living babies, can't seem to go there. They just can't bring it, they can't seem to consciously wrap their brain around it. That's what I'm
Yeah.
starting to find out. Like, I don't think
Mm-hmm,
it's that they
mm-hmm.
diminish it. I don't think they think it's like not a thing. I think sometimes they're like, this is the most horrific thing I've ever heard. Even mothers who had living babies who passed still will say, this is worse sometimes. And I will never do the
A hundred
hierarchy.
percent. A hundred
Never.
percent. Yep.
I have my worst scenarios in my head that I feel would just be like, whoa. But they even look at us and I'm like, uh,
We're
so
like,
what are you guys saying? Like we win? Like, but like I'm just
we
kidding.
win the shit Olympics, brown
Shit
medal.
Olympics. But so I just sometimes wonder if people are just like, this is so dark that they
Yeah.
just can't seem to bring
I
themselves to
think it's like
consciously do it.
a protective mechanism
Could
because they
be.
don't want to think that like I remember I was with one of my photographer friends like 5 days I think before Junie died, and then she died, was born, and then we were hanging out like 2 or 3 weeks later, and we drove by the hospital, and I pointed up at my hospital window. And side note, she hasn't had kids at all, but I pointed at my window and I was like, "Oh, that's the room that I gave birth to Junie in," and she was like, "You had to go to the hospital? Like you had to come out somehow?" Like and like that wasn't the only experience I had with that, but like people don't want to think about it. They don't want to think that we had to do that. We had to talk about burial versus cremation in the same sentence as an
Mm,
epidural. Like
Or a
mm.
pain, a
WTF.
painful
Like
state. Yeah.
what?
It is dark. And I always go back to my brain pre baby death, and I think about like we watch comedy all the time, like stand-up comedy. When
Mm.
those comedians throw a dead baby joke out there, this was before, but that would put a pit in my stomach, and I'm like, that's too much. Like
Mhm.
we don't do that. We don't joke about dead babies. Then I had one, and I was like, whoa, because it was like it was one of those thoughts where you're just like, I don't ever want to picture, think, or talk about a baby that is dead. And
Mhm.
that's what I just saw a clip of Claire Danes. I don't know what movie she's going to be in, but she's playing a grieving mother. And she was talking about how she almost didn't want to take the role because she did not want to go there. She has three living
Ooh.
she has three living
Whoa.
kids, and they were it was about how easily she can cry in movies. So they were
Mm.
asking her questions like, how do you just turn on the waterworks? And she kind of made a joke, but then she gets deep and she's like, I honestly wasn't sure I wanted to take this role because I do have three living kids, and I don't want to even go there. Like
That's
I
so
don't.
wild.
And she's playing a grieving mom.
So method acting is where you've never had that experience. I know this because I did a little stint as an actress, you guys.
Oh boy.
Um, I trained, and method acting is partially why I'm not an actress because of this. Method acting is when you're put in a scene or playing a role that you have never experienced before. So what you do is you put loved ones in place of, let's say, you're playing a grieving, or let's just say something wild happens and your whole family dies. You have to put faces on those characters so that you can actually attach to it.
Yeah.
Envision yourself getting the news, envision yourself mourning and grieving so that you can produce those emotions on camera. It is a
Hmm.
dark process to continuously imagine your loved ones dying,
Yeah.
continuously. So for
Yeah.
her to go in that role, she probably did have to slip her kids in there and try to become that grieving mother in her head so that she could authentically get those feelings and emotions up to give the role what it deserved. That is
Yeah.
a dark place to go, and that is really
Well,
fascinating she said that.
yeah, and I'll see if I can find it and I'll share it. It was a Facebook reel, I think. But it makes you wonder about actors in general because a lot of
That's why
them
they're
do
crazy.
Right? And they have depression. But and like they'll say like, "Oh, it was that one role that really meant," like I feel like Will Smith was one of them. Like he had to play like a really dark role and he was like depressed for years. And that's all just imagination. But here we
Oh,
are
good
out here
point.
actually dealing with the reality. And then everybody around us is like no big deal, or like, and we can't talk about it and we can't, but like here we are, like this is our real life, like, and these actors just imagining what it's like to be a person living with this profound loss or grief or depression and whatever are messed up from just portraying that.
Yeah. Yeah. Isn't that is
I feel
so
that it
such
speaks
a good point.
Yeah.
How have you guys like how has your coping changed? Like what I always think about this, like what I do when I'm feeling like scrunchy inside. That's the only way I could put it. And I'm like in a really dark place or getting there. I know it's all like part of my cycle usually. Like, oh, I'm definitely getting my period in like 2 days. Um,
Yeah.
but like, how have you guys been able to cope with your own emotions, but also the external forces that are saying and doing things? Like, how has that changed for you guys,
Are you want to
Andrea?
go first, Amanda? It's muted.
Is it? Then Andrew, you go.
go for it, Andy.
What?
Go for it.
Okay, I have found like that there has been, I'm going through a transition just anyways, I feel like because I'm turning 39 in February. And so, and like my oldest two are preteens. So there's a lot of life transitions happening anyways. And I feel like instead of my grief, this is why I quit therapy. I don't know if that's how you say it, but I'm not going to therapy anymore because I got to a place in life where now I don't feel like I'm managing my grief. I'm managing my moods. Like, and so it's
Mm-hmm.
like the
Mm-hmm.
moods and the overwhelm. And a lot of that sometimes is just the regular everyday life and not so much that I'm triggered by something someone said or I'm upset. But I do find myself like getting into these funks and I don't know, like the I can think of a few moments where I did end up I've gone on medication twice, and the last time I did happened after my 5-year-old burned his hand. And so I found that externally, if all my
Mm,
kids are doing well and they're okay and there hasn't been like these big hiccups, like then I'm okay and my
mm.
mood is better. But definitely like we have the monthly cycle and all that plays into a role. But that I just like eat ice cream in bed late. Like I'll just
Hell yeah.
I just want to feel good. I don't care about my weight, whatever. I'm eating some ice cream and I get through those days, right? But when my son burnt his hand, I ended up and I went back and talked to the mental health nurse practitioner who was also a bereaved mom, and I loved talking to her. I didn't talk to her. She wasn't like my main therapist, but she explained to me. So
She's backup.
finding what I'm finding is that depending on what's going on and the gravity of what's going on, like it will affect
Mm, mm-hmm,
my coping and where I'm at. And so when he
mm-hmm.
burnt his hand, it was all like my daughter, is not doing it this year, but she was a competitive dancer, which I know you're familiar with the schedule of like a competitive
Mm-hmm.
dancer. It was rehearsal week. I had a sick kid. My 5-year-old burns his hand terribly on this curling iron. And basically, she said it activated my PTSD,
Mm-hmm.
and that we, as people living with PTSD, living with grief, I just found myself in the weeks after that happened being more agitated, being more irritable, snapping more. And I'm just like, what is going on? Like, I don't feel like I'm managing life again. And so it's taken
Mm-hmm.
those lived experiences to kind of help me realize, is it a pattern? Is it, something causing this shift in my mood? And it really was. It's like more the external forces and not so much internal, but it's like what's going on in my life to where I feel overwhelmed, like I'm not managing well. And I was like, it clicked for me. I was driving my daughter to rehearsals that same day, and I was rubbing my tongue against the back of my teeth so severely
Mm.
I caused like a cut in my tongue. And I was like subconsciously doing that and unaware. And I was like, oh, like it made me think of the people like when I was a preschool teacher, we had a lot of kids living in poverty and very high stress situations. And there was like belly button pickers, and they would just pick their belly button to the point that it bled. And so my head went to them, honestly,
Mm.
because
Mm-hmm.
like I knew I was feeling all of this emotion and this overwhelm, and my body was reacting again. And I
Hmm.
hadn't had like an episode like that for a long time, but it was my son burning his hand, and this
Hmm.
like felt like an emergency that brought all that out again. And it took me a lot longer to come down
Hmm.
from.
I get that. I get that.
Yeah,
Wolfie's hospital stays. I was like, that's it. I'm back.
yeah,
But I will
yeah,
tell you, I don't know about you guys, but like I have a, this is probably going to come off super weird. I have a fear of that feeling again, I think. Like I have a fear of anxiety. Like I know so deeply what it feels like because I obviously, like it's such an intense feeling of when you can't just like get yourself, your nervous system to regulate or come down. So I was popping like lorazepam for a while. I was like, you know what? I don't feel like getting myself through this. I don't feel like
yeah.
talking myself through this. I just pop it up. Look, we're good. So when I ran out of it and I'm getting off these medications now, I'm like, I got to learn how to self regulate again. I got to learn how to do my breathing, to get my focus on something else. Like I gotta go back to my toolbox. And I was like, shit, like it'd be so much easier to just pop
I
a
know.
pill. But I did. I
I'm,
was popping it in the hospital because I was like, I need to keep a straight head. I can't collapse right now because I do the
yeah,
same thing as you do, Andrea. I lash out. I start to like
yeah.
snap and like yell and like I can't. It's not good. It's not a good look and it's not cute. Um,
Some of my coping mechanisms are like really comfy clothes.
Yeah,
Like, I feel like what you said, Andrea, like managing your moods, that I relate to that so much. I feel like a lot of my grief is integrated. I
mm,
live in a small community, and so like most people are aware. And so it's not like I'm encountering a lot of new situations a lot, which I think helps. But I think any way to like reduce that suffering when you are like, struggling or you're trying to like prevent from getting to that point, like literally comfy clothes. I'm also finding out more and more sensory issues running my family and how many things I've had to mask as a child. Um, but that just helps me like get through the everyday, you know?
yeah.
I've also been trying to get back in the habit of journaling every
mm,
morning, try to wake up before my children, but I also parent a child named Jersey June who
Yeah.
doesn't sleep. So there's that, but also reading, and I feel pretty good. We started a book club, some friends of mine. It was like 2 months after Junie died, and I remember feeling so weird about it at the time. But my book club's pretty good at kind of helping screen books or like give me a heads up. Not so much like trigger warning, but just like, hey Amanda, just like this happens in this book, like thinking of you, So that's
that's
really
good.
nice.
Yeah.
And like circling back to I think the this idea of coping and what I really like is like building resilience is how I like to look at it because I really don't like the word healing ever in this space. I mean, but like building resiliency. And I think that is so helped by having people around you that help you help yourself, So like things like that of like giving me a heads up about like a book theme, things like that. That stuff
Yeah.
kind of helps a lot. I'm also not doing the best at it, but I'm trying to get back to writing on Instagram because that was such a lifeline for me.
Well, that's how
When
we
Junie
found
first
you.
died.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like, as life goes on, you add some living kids to the mix. You're, I was thinking about this the other day, how when your baby first dies, that is such a primal experience and such a universal experience in the sense of like, hey, quiet, a universal, you can wait. Oh my gosh, let's just do first aid while I'm driving. I'm so sorry. You're gonna have to edit this.
You're fine.
Oh my gosh. But just experiencing the death of your child, giving birth, like, yep, there's already, did you vaginal birth? Did you have a C-section? Gestational age. Like there are some different variables there, but like that core experience is all so similar for so many of us. And then
Mm,
from there, it kind of starts webbing out into
mm,
different experiences.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And so then like you start adding living kids to the mix, and the timing of living kids, and how that starts kind of branching off from your experience. And so then like we still have a lot in common, but it becomes less similar.
Yeah.
A little, there's a lot more differences. to it.
Yeah. And I think finding out who we are as moms is like a huge part of this. And I had a therapist tell or psychiatrist tell me that I was trauma bonding with Brody and I fired her. I was like, that's not what this is.
What?
My
Oh, like
only
what for
memories
what
of
she
him,
said? What?
yeah, like so I'm like, okay. So I, like you guys know, have been trying to integrate him into my life, and that's something outside of his death. Like I'm just trying to make him
Mhm.
present without it being all about his death, which is hard because like that's all I knew him alive in my belly. Then I knew him dead.
Good.
So you guys know. So like that's been an interesting way of trying to figure out what kind of mom I am. You know, I'm lucky to have a family who does mention him sometimes, all the time, actually, even when I'm like, whoa, why are you saying his name right now? Like, so it's been interesting. And my kids are still so little, 15 months and 2.5. Like, what the hell's going on right now? Like, I'm a basket case. And that's okay. And I'm allowed to say motherhood is freaking hard. Being a woman is
Uh-huh.
freaking hard. Even though my son died and I'm so grateful, this is hard as shit. And figuring out who you are outside of motherhood, it's a big process for women who have not gone through any trauma or loss. And here we
Oh
are
yeah.
trying to dig ourselves out of these really dark places and trying to figure out who we are and being good moms. But we're carrying a lot of stuff. And I give us so much props. I could not be prouder of these lost mamas, you guys, who have gotten to the quote unquote other side while still carrying your babies and you're fucking crushing it in your own ways. That to me is the
It
name of this
takes one to know one, Catherine.
bitch. Game recognizes game.
I know
Yeah.
bull.
I know ball, right? Isn't that funny?
Oh
Yeah. Well,
my God.
I love knowing you guys, and I know we only kind of go back and forth occasionally as our phases are going, and we're texting and we're Instagramming, but just know like I will always be here for you guys. I will always be your biggest cheerleader. I will always be the one to back you if you ever need me to fight somebody. I literally, I do. I feel very lucky to have y'all still in my life. You were there when I needed you the most, and you're still there to just make me feel human and normal and like a crazy mom like all the time. So,
I love that like our conversations are just always ongoing. Like I have very few mom friends that are like, "Hey, how are you today?" You know, like it's just,
Because
"Hey,
you
what
can't.
the hell do I do this?"
I was
yeah,
talking about this on
Yeah.
TikTok the other day with people because that's I have a little group over there going and
I
TikTok
love it.
terrifies me.
and I was
Teach
talking
me your
about like
ways. I
oh
feel like a
no,
geriatric there.
I know, right?
don't have a lot of people that we can jump back and forth with. Like I want to go from talking about my living kids to talking about my one that's died
Yeah.
and we're really kind of split in these two groups of like we have the lost moms and we know we can talk about our grief with. We're not always sure if we can talk about our living kids. You know, there's a select certain
It's
few that
true.
we know we can, but there's not a lot of times where we can just have a flowing conversation about both worlds because everybody, you know, there is just this group of like that is so unfamiliar. Like if I bring Terra up, they're sad. Like all like they're like, oh,
You're
like
like, hi guys, is this on?
oh, like their face changed. Like we cannot. Oh my God. Okay, like,
See,
but I
and I think a life hack here, Andrea, you gotta just like throw on the dark humor as soon as you meet someone,
See
and
if
then
they could pass the
giving
test.
them, oh yeah, 100%. Like it's like a prerequisite for your college courses. Like
oh,
I, I consider some of my closest friends that aren't lost moms the ones that join me in the dark humor, and
Hmm.
that means the world to me. Like my friend Sarah went out of her way. One, she put the wave of light on her calendar, and like she canceled whatever plans she had so she could be home and light her damn candle. She went
mhm.
out of her way, you guys, get this, to get a charred juniper scented
Oh,
candle for the wave of light.
oh my God.
Isn't that
Okay, see, I'm
amazing?
not there yet.
Like,
I don't know if
yeah.
No, I think I'd be pissed.
I'd be so mad. I would be like, you're not allowed to do
Yeah, no,
that.
I can do that, but you
Yeah.
cannot.
Oh
I mean,
no, like I was like, I want to hug you,
That
and I
is
don't know, maybe
dark.
I have a few more years of experience
probably.
here.
Oh my
Yeah,
God,
I
girl, you are the
literally just
champion. You
I
will
lead
always
with
be our queen
that.
of dark. You
Oh,
will always be
you're
the
so
queen of dark.
funny.
No one will take
The,
your
the,
crown.
the most like oxymoron, the orange girl that loves dark humor, like what? And that was also never something that I was like intentionally trying to do, but like my life mission has been if you don't laugh, you'll cry. And so
Yeah.
Okay, you
You've
were
given a
saying this
lot of
before.
us
I want
permission.
to try this. Oh, good. I'm so glad. But I was gonna say this before too. What you were saying about Brody, about like celebrating him and like knowing him beyond his death, because that's what I think is so misunderstood about our experience, is that yes, their death was absolutely earth-shatteringly, is that a word? Earth-shatteringly terrible. Like there's not even words to describe how awful experiencing their death and their birth is.
Hmm.
But we can love them beyond death. We
Yeah.
do love them beyond death. We look at their picture, and some people might see their pictures and just think, "Wow, that's a dead baby." And we look at them and go, "That's my child, and that's my baby." And so, like talking about how my dad was kind of in about like singing "Happy Birthday" to Junie, um, it's because he could not see beyond that whole part.
Right.
Yeah.
That
Right. Yeah.
that there's more to her than just death, and we can be happy, because he kind of said like nothing was happy on her birthday, and I'm like, actually, it's both. Her birthday was both the best and worst day of my life, and two,
Hmm.
we always talk about this, two opposites can exist.
Hmm.
And so yeah, I think that kind of like brings together that dark humor, because I want to leave her memory with people to bring her laughter.
Hmm. Yeah. Amen,
Yeah.
sister friend. Love it. Y'all, we could do this for hours, I swear. It's like so fun. Andrea, Amanda and I were talking about doing like the morning show, like
Yes.
MOURNING, and just like hopping on and doing like regular like IG lives and stuff. So like
Yeah.
I think series regulars, not that everyone could do it every day, but like
Yeah.
series regulars would be like super fun. Like we have
Yeah.
Andrea back on the
Or
morning
like
show.
the and you bring a topic to discuss,
Yeah.
like, oh, did you see that Harvard article that just came out? Or, like, yeah, have it
Hell
gives you like
yeah.
some things to talk about.
I
Yeah,
love
that
that. Yeah.
Well, I've
So
always said
yeah.
like if people, if especially non-lost people, if non-lost people could just be in our DMs all the time, I
Mm,
think it would just be eye-opening, like the things that we discuss. So that was kind of why I was like, let's get on a live the other day, totally like,
yeah, and the messages were
unhinged, off
like
the cuff.
people were messaging like just listening to you two yap is like so incredibly helpful. And I'm like,
yeah.
yeah, that's how the podcast started. I was like, the first few episodes are literally my friends and I just chatting about death and life and everything. And I was like, well, this is what it sounds like to have two lost moms talking to each other, and that's what I
Yeah.
think is super helpful. So like, I'm stoked. I think we'll come up with some stuff for the new year. But I'm
Yeah.
so thankful you guys did this. I know it was like kind of chaotic, but that's how we roll.
That's just my life.
Good.
I mean, when
God,
is it not
right?
chaotic?
Well,
I
you
was
guys,
gonna say too, should I work on some posts of like me throwing the dark humor at the not lost moms and what that looks
yes,
like?
dude, you're the
Yeah, because
queen.
I was doing some family photos for my friend the other day with her two little kids, and me and her youngest Frankie have a special connection. Just have to throw that out there. And her husband's nickname is Bowie, because he was called Casper the Ghost because he was so like white when he was little. So just love it. And anyways, Bowie was pushing my stroller with Jersey in it, and he was like, "Wait, is there a kid in there? Or is it a ghost? Maybe it's Junie." And I was like, "But I'm."
Oh, that's a good one.
It's so good. So I gotta figure out some good ways to share that stuff and
Do that.
keep
You
you
could do a
guys in the
whole
room.
series. You could do a whole series of it. Well, thank you guys so much for doing this. I know everyone's busy, but I hope you guys have a really good Thanksgiving. I mean, we're gonna be talking out on the IG for sure, and maybe on the TikTok if I could get.
Get
I'm
on
on
it.
it, but I don't get
It's
it.
funny over
That
there.
TikTok,
It's funny over there.
It's funny. That's funny.
funny over there.
A lot of
Well,
scandals happening. It's like Real Housewives.
that I could
Yeah,
get into. That I could
Yeah,
get
yeah,
the
into.
yeah,
real dead baby moms of TikTok.
That's
yeah.
maybe make that a hashtag. I'm in.
It's
Let's do
funny.
it.
All
Let's
right,
do
bye
it.
guys.
New
Thank you
game.
so
All
much.
right. Love you
Thank
Hi.
guys. Love your
you.
babies.
Bye.
Yeah.
Peace.
Where's the X button?